Let's see here. We talk about Huang Po. Huang Po has this awesome quote: "What is being perceived is not what is perceiving." And you could flip it a little bit to what is being heard is not what is hearing. Yeah. So it's a very direct idea from Huang Po, really, which pretty much everything that was annotated from his talks is very direct. But what is being perceived in the experience of Jay is not what is perceiving that. Yeah. So obviously there's a break, or there's a two-ness there. There's everything that's being heard, which is known in this body as Jay, and then there's the hearing of that. Now, part of what is heard is the idea that Jay is the hearer. Yeah, so the mental system is posing Jay as a separate thing, which is actually the ultimate subject, or the hearing. That's the false. That's the false presentation, which is uprooted through these inquiries, or through Advaita or Chan or whatever. So whatever is being heard in your experience of this situation here is not what is hearing it. Yeah. So somebody like John Klein would say, essentially, just stay in the hearing. Just stay in the listening, and don't start identifying with what is heard. So if you take it into like a sound thing, your ears right now are open, yeah? You can hear my voice, for instance, or like I can hear the birds outside. So as soon as that sound goes through the ear, the head will start to identify it as bird. Or when we listen to these talks, your head will start to try to understand and manipulate the sound of the words coming in to make it fit its own idea. And that points something out, because you can hear my voice, and you can also hear your head trying to like corroborate the information or build it into some sort of structure, which you would call my understanding. Yeah, but the thing about my understanding is that is the mental system's move to take what is happening now and understand it with the information it has from the past. So kind of like the emptiness of the skandhas. The sound of the bird comes in through the ear. Yeah. Now the idea that it's a bird in the first place comes from the mental system. So the thought bird is triggered by the sound. There's a cause, which is the sound, and then there's an effect, which is the bird idea. Yeah. My head only says that it's a bird based on the past. Otherwise, how could it possibly have that idea? So the idea bird only gets triggered by the cause. It points to the emptiness of what's going on here. All of the thoughts that take place are triggered by a cause, and the thoughts are an effect, essentially. So they don't have independent existence like they do. Yeah? That's why when my head says these thoughts are my thoughts, that my is not an independent, separately existing thing from anything else. That my is also triggered by a cause, which is the contact with the senses and the world. Then there's a bunch of ideas, and then your head goes, those are my ideas. With that my, you are then taken, or let's say you identify with those ideas, and now these my ideas are Jay's ideas, and when they're identified with, you live as them. Yeah. So you can see all of this happening. This is the point. You can perceive this. This is perceived from before it. Because what you and I are is before. Let's say it's the ever awake. Everything else comes and goes. Yeah. So it's the ever present, and everything else is a movement. All sound, thoughts, the body, they're all moving, yeah? So what is being perceived is not what is perceiving. So all the ideas beliefs and opinions, which are presented to you as my, those are all perceived. You can perceive all of those. Yeah? It's like you can hear them not with your ears, but there's a hearing of all of that mental contents all of the time. It's just with the my thought, it ties you into it. Yeah? But the my thought is part of what is heard. You can hear your head say me, and everything else comes after that me. Without the me, you wouldn't care about the contents of the mental system. But because it's your mental system, it carries this huge weight, you see. So Jean Klein would say, like, stay in the listening. I was just looking through this little book. Jean Klein wrote a bunch of stuff on listening, but I don't know if I'll be able to find it now. He says this: only listening, attention free from qualification and anticipation, will keep you from falling into the trap of projecting desires for this and that. Otherwise, one lives in self-deception. So only listening. So staying, as Hong Po would say, both hands open. So you're not grasping any of the contents of what's heard. Both the body, the world, and the mental contents. Attention free from qualification and anticipation will keep you from falling into the old trap of projecting desires. What's projecting desires is the mental system. Yeah? It would be false to think that that will stop. That there will one day, I will be desireless as a J. Yeah? Desirelessness is before J. Faith is lost in J because it's heard rather than the hearing. And in so, there's not a lot of desire. But J's head will keep desiring T tomorrow, for instance. Right? So Jean Klein is essentially saying, stay in the listening. What is being heard, which is the body-mind world, is not what is hearing it. So stay in the hearing. And then the head, the mental system will go, I am the hearer. The same way the head goes, I am the doer of everything that's being done. Yeah? I am the seer, the thinker, the toucher, the hearer. Yeah? But that hearer, presented to you as me, is heard. So the point is, you don't start at the me. The idea me comes and goes through what's hearing it, which is what you and I would be. Yeah? Which is like this open space, or let's say like the ground of being, as Judith Blackstone would say. It is by negating and not touching what is heard that you can only rest in the hearing. What you are as the ground, let's say. Now, it's kind of like in recovery. This is not about what is being heard, and then I'm going to change that a lot. Yeah? That would be more of like a therapeutic approach. There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as like lasting peace goes, it's not going to work. Because what is being heard, in this case J, for example, is an ever-changing thing. Yeah, so it can go do one thing, and it can be confident, okay, this is what I'm going to do forever. And then the next week, it's already switched over to the next thing. Yeah, that is the movement of what is being heard. J is a dualistic thing, so it's happy, sad, up, down, left, right. There's not going to be a lasting peace if I'm identified as that, as what is heard. Yeah. Now, what is hearing doesn't change. What is hearing, all of the heard, doesn't change. That's like ever-present, open listening. It doesn't shift in any way. Yeah, it's untouched by the movement of what is heard. And you can hear your mental system flipping all day long, left and right, left and right. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's dualistic. So that's what it does. Yeah, you can feel. You can hear through physical sensation the body changing constantly. One day it's tight, one day it's not, one day it's this, one day but. It's always changing, yeah? So obviously, if you can hear that through physical sensation, then it's not the hearing of it. You are what you and I are is the hearing of everything that's heard. Yeah. There's another thing in this from Bodhidharma. He says, if you seek direct understanding, don't hold on to any appearance whatsoever and you'll succeed. So essentially, that's so good. The thoughts and sounds, if you take the listening approach, or like that understanding, let's say, those are forms, those are appearances, forms, yeah. So he's saying, don't grab onto those. And then keep that going. Take that into your eyes. Don't grasp onto the body, because that's a form which is ever changing in appearance. All the thoughts are appearances. And like we were saying before, all the appearances are completely reliant on other appearances, because this is a dualistic system of cause and effect. So as soon as the eyes hit wall, the head says wall. Yeah, this is cause and effect. I'm not doing that. It's a mechanical movement which is doing that. And you can hear that all day. Yeah. So those are all appearances. The eyes are an appearance, a form. The wall is an appearance, a form. And the idea, the concept of wall appearance is form. And then if I was to say, who's hearing that thought? The answer would always be me or I. That is also a form, which is heard. So keep both hands open. And as he says, you don't grasp or touch any of those appearances. In so doing, you can only rest into what would be left, or what, like Ramana says, what remains, which is what you already are. So the mental system is always trying to become something. And through the ideas of spirituality, it's trying to become the ever-present, let's say. But it can't do it because it is of the herd. What is hearing the herd is already what you are. Yeah, the mental system cannot become a not mental system. It's an anxious dualistic system. That's just what it is. So you can hear it all day, which is the point. It's like what Ramana said about meditation. Meditation is not becoming something, it's putting down what is not the hearing. Yeah, it's putting down and not grasping at what is heard. He would say that is like the proper movement of meditation. Everything else is just more identification with the body and the mind, which is what is heard. Yeah, that's like 99% of contemporary spiritual ideas. That's what it is. It's what is heard trying to become something. Mostly trying to become the hearing, which it can't be. Yeah. J does not become the open space of awareness or the ground of being. The ground of being is aware of J already. So the movement is a negation. It's a negation of what you're identified as, which is what is heard, so that you already sit back into what is ever present, which is what you are, which would be the hearing of it, yeah? And then you'll hear the head claim that and go, I am awareness. And as soon as the head claims that, it's another thing not to touch because it's heard. Yeah. So these little statements are nice because they're very direct, you know. Don't hold on to any appearance whatsoever and you'll succeed. So Bodhidharma is saying that what you are you will succeed when you don't hold on to the appearance of the body and the mind. Small m mind. When that's not grasped onto, you will succeed. Which means what you are or you must not be what cannot be grasped. Yeah? If you can put down the body and the mind, obviously you are not the body and the mind. That's pretty basic logic. If you cannot touch the body and the mind, obviously there's a you and then there's a body and mind. Otherwise, you couldn't put it down. So it's the same thing with the what's being heard. When you can hear your mental system all day, obviously there's a hearing of that mental system. That's why we can sit here and talk about it, or like in the recovery talks, we can talk about self, because you can hear it. Yeah, you can identify it. All day long, you can hear self going off, running around, essentially, bouncing off of all of its causes. This happens, a bunch of thoughts. This happens, bunch of thoughts. It's like cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. Yeah. We can see that. Or let's say hear it. I like the hearing thing because, as they say in Chan, hearing turned inward. Yeah, you could do the same thing with seeing or whatever, but it's just hearing's what's landed best for me, I guess. But if you can hear something, obviously you are not what is heard, but you would be the hearing of that. That would sit you back into the open space of what you are. Yeah. Now, what is heard, J, can only exist because of the hearing of it. So really, J is not separate from the space in which it arises. But I feel as a method that's not so useful, because the mental system will claim that idea very quickly, and it will say, no, I am the hearing. Yeah. So it's nice. I feel it's nice to keep it very simple, like in the recovery stuff. Don't hold any appearance, and you will succeed. So we are currently, most people are identified as an appearance, as a body and a brain. So Bodhidharma is saying, don't hold onto that. Don't clamp down onto that body and brain. And in so doing, what you are will always succeed. Which it will succeed anyways, because you are the hearing, that's a fact. You are not the heard. It's the identifying with the mental system which ties you into what is heard. Yeah. Alright. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but that's what will come through, I think. If there's any questions or we want to share something, please feel free to put something there in the chat. I don't even know if there's anybody here, but